Hey everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 of our holiday project that we did when we overhauled our basement. If you haven't watched part 1 and our basement storage unit, go watch that now. This is part 2, which is all about toy storage. So you will see that we're picking off exactly where we left off on the last video. We are picking up some organizing products. We are at a store buying stuff, which never happens in my videos. I'm never buying anything new, so it's kind of an exciting day for us, and it might not happen again for a while. But as you would have seen in our first video, we got rid of our toy room, our tree house, which is in our basement. It stored all of our toys, and we completely got rid of that and repurposed it. So we have to find a spot for our new toys. So I debated for weeks and months about what to do with the toys, how to organize them, how to sort them, how to make them look like decent but also be functional in our main living space, like upstairs in our living room where everything was going to live. So I ended up deciding on getting a 4-cube shelf, which you'll see I'm buying here, and getting some baskets to go with that. So we're at Canadian Tire, which is where I'm buying all of this. We live in small town Ontario, so we don't have, all the same shopping options that you might if you're in the States. We don't have Target. There's no IKEA near us. We don't have the Container Store, anything like that. However, I'm not complaining because honestly, we always have probably more options than we even need. When I was debating about what exactly we should get and how we should set everything up, there were a few factors that I was considering. And number one was that I want it to look neutral. Like I want it to be neutral looking. I didn't want to look kiddish or toyish because like I said, it was going to be in our living area and I was going to be looking at it every day, all day. Number two is I obviously want it to be functional. So I'm showing you a clip here of what the toys look like now. This is our existing toy bin, which we've always had upstairs in addition to our toy room. So this is full of, as you can see, just kind of random toys and all the Barbies and stuff that are on the floor. That was a big new phase that we've just gotten into and part of why we needed new kind of functional storage for our area. Number 3 is I wanted it to be affordable. So everything I bought in this session, so I bought the actual unit themselves and the basket, was around, I think, $167. So not like super cheap, but definitely affordable, and we had it within budget. So I was happy with that. Lastly, I wanted something that I could repurpose and or resell. Obviously, my kids are not gonna play in toys for the next 20 years. This is a phase that we're just going through right now, that they're really into toys, but I know it's not gonna last that much longer. So I wanted something that when they were done playing with toys, that we were able to use in a different room, for a different purpose, for different items, and or resell. So I always kind of sort of my go-to thinking when I'm buying any sort of new organizational products or any furniture is like, how long are we going to use this? And if it's not for more than 5 years, then how can we use it, or are we able to get rid of it in other ways? And I know for a fact that if we don't end up using it after we need it for toys, that we could sell it in an hour in our area. They're so easy to sell. They're constantly in demand on our Facebook marketplace. And obviously I would have preferred to buy one secondhand, which is always my go-to. However, I did look for months for something like this on there, and I just wasn't able to get the right color and size that I wanted. And I knew that I really had something very specific in mind. So I ended up buying brand new, which is rare for us, but so it's kind of exciting, but we really loved it, and I'm really happy with our purchase. The other tip for the cube storage, if you're looking for it yourself, is that there's 2 options for sizes. There's 9-inch or 13. And I pretty much always recommend the 13-inch, so the bigger one. So the 9-inch, sometimes clients will have that, and we can work with it if you already have it. I wouldn't replace it necessarily, but if you're looking to go between them, I always say size up. And then even if it costs just a little bit extra, it's totally worth it, especially say anything bulky or weird shaped. Say if you're putting Lego or something like that, it's just a little bit easier to have more room. First of all, you have more wiggle room, and secondly, you can fit some weird stuff in there. For example, we have some of the Barbie furniture was kind of awkward, and if it's small space, it would have just been trying to jam it in, so annoying. And this way, we have room to put all it in, plus room to spare. We chose fabric bins for this particular use. I like them because they're lighter, they're not as heavy as wicker bins, for example, so that they're better for, say, if I'm having a 5-year-old clean up her own toys, she's able to lift it with stuff in it and still be able to lift it and put it away. So it made it that kind of an easy choice for us. I do, however, love the look. I love the look of like the wicker one. So if we were using this in a more prominent area, like say it was in a main entry, for example, I would definitely have it the wicker ones because I think they look a lot better. In terms of pricing, the fabric ones are slightly cheaper. I think they're about, these ones are like $11.50 or so. And I think the wicker ones typically for where we're buying them in our area, between $22 to $25. Whether I get them at Canadian Tire or Amazon, the prices are pretty much the same, I find. So yeah, the fabric ones I like for this particular use, but the wicker ones do look like a little bit just more maybe grown up. You'll see that we end up keeping all toys in this one cube storage plus our existing toy bin, which is essentially just an old ottoman that we used to have and that we ended up using for a toy bin. The hinges, the lid used to be on hinges, but they have broken since we've got it, which is actually totally fine because I always worried about the kids pinching their fingers in the hinges. So anywho, it's technically broken, but it still functions fine for us. So we're going to keep that as a toy bin, and that is going to have all of basically Leo's things. So he is 7 years old and he is a sportsaholic. So pretty much all of his toys now are just sports equipment and balls and baseball gloves and baseball bats and basketballs and hockey equipment and mini sticks. So all of that is all, and it kind of worked out because it's all weird, like big, bulky, kind of weird shaped items. So they're all going to go into that black ottoman, which you can kind of see in the left corner behind me. And that we're going to keep that. And then all of Annie Rose's items are going to go into this one. Like I said, she has mainly like Barbies and that kind of thing. There's only one type of toy storage that I'm pretty adamant that is terrible, and I like the opposite of recommend. I really discourage people from buying. I'll show a clip of it here. It's just so a lot of people have it, and if you already have it and it works for you, that's great. But typically I find them almost impossible to keep organized and tidy and maintained. So I pretty much always discourage people from getting this. No matter what you get, this is the only thing I say, please don't buy that. Okay, so in the end, you'll see that we've separated in the cube baskets. We followed 4 categories for items. One were the actual Barbie dolls, one were Barbie accessories, and one is Barbie furniture. And then the item number 4, the 4th basket, is basically just like other, so miscellaneous toys. So she does play with a few other little things. Like she has a little backpack, and we have some artificial pretend food that they'll play store with and that kind of thing. So that we still have, and that we put in the 4th basket. So we tried to keep the categories like, they're somewhat categorized, but not over the top. So it's something that at their age, that they can maintain with our schedule and lifestyle. It worked for us. One other thing I didn't show in this video, but we actually have 2 other baskets with sort of, I guess, toy-ish stuff. In the basement, I have one basket of stuffies, so stuffed animals, and then I have one basket which holds Leo's goalie equipment, which was his like big Santa gift this Christmas, and it's a ton of like bulky, like it's like a equipment, hockey equipment. So we had a basket for that just happened to be empty and was like the perfect size for it. So I ended up putting all his hockey goalie gear in that. And then the stuffies were in a basket, and they've been sort of in that basket for a while now, sort of been moving them around. I'm not sure if I'll leave them like that, but that's what they are right now. And they're in the basement in our actual, like the living space of the basement. So that's essentially where we have the toys. So like these 2 items, and then in the basement, those 2 baskets are for specific things. And in terms of toys in their bedroom, they don't have many. They have the odd like little thing that just happens to be in there, more like treasures than actual toys. When they were little, I remember being so adamant about not having toys in their room because I guess mainly when I felt like it was distracting when they were sleeping, just they would get up and, you know, when you're trying to teach a toddler to stay in their bed, they would get them play with the toys. But I'm at the point now, I feel like I'm not totally against having toys in their bedroom. So, yeah, like that. Their rooms aren't, especially Annie Rose's is super small, so she'll probably never have a lot of toys in there. But I'm definitely not against toys in the bedroom. So if one of these units fit in a bedroom, then that would work for you. I would not be against that idea. In terms of assembling furniture like this, it actually wasn't bad at all. Now that I've done it, we've done it so many times, just different simple items like this for clients. It's no big deal at all, and it's really easy. If you want to try it and you're nervous about it, I would say go for it. It's way easier than I had it in my mind, that's for sure. I'm not naturally like a handy, hands-on person with this kind of stuff, with building or construction of any sort, but it's so easy. Like now that I've done it a few times, so it's worth the chance if you've never done it. And Annie Rose, surprisingly, was actually very helpful. So I didn't officially take down all of our Christmas decor this particular day. I took it down the next day. I think this, if I remember, this was New Year's Eve we did this, and I took it down on New Year's Day, but I wanted to get this tree out of the way, obviously because we wanted to use this as part of our like toy storage and toy organization. So this tree, we have two. I put a ton of this detail in. We did like a Christmas decor video earlier in the year. Oh, I just wanted to show a quick clip of Annie Rose with her basket. She's got our baskets opening up, so they're kid-proof. She can open them and put them together herself. So if a 5-year-old can do it, you can too. She's getting them all ready and getting them into the cubes, and she is ready to go. Okay, back to Christmas decor. But we have two trees and they're both artificial, and we just take them apart. You'll see they go into like 3 chunks like a normal tree, and we don't have bags or boxes for them. We don't have any actual storage that we put them in, but they simply go on. We have open rafters in the ceiling of our garage, and so Scott has put down like basically pieces of plywood on the rafters so that it's like a little ledge or like a little shelf kind of, and all the chunks just lay on that. So it's basic, but it works really well. It works for us. I would just like to say for the record that I don't make Annie Rose vacuum, and I never asked her to, but as soon as I bring it out, she always is desperate to do it. She loves vacuuming. It's like her favorite thing to help with. So just, I want to like mention that in case anyone thinking that I'm making her do this kind of stuff. She just likes to help and likes to be a helper, so that's what she's up to there. So you can see we're moving the cube shelf into its spot. There's like a little inset in our wall there, which works perfectly for this little shelf, which is exactly what I had in mind. I didn't actually measure it, but I knew it would fit, and it fits like a perfect little squeeze. And then I have the curtains there, and behind the curtains, it's a perfect spot to put my yoga mat, so it worked out perfectly. Okay, so you'll see now, like I talked about, we are sorting the toys. These are existing toys. That blue tote is what we had all the Barbies in originally. So just everything, all categories sort of shoved in there, and it wasn't ideal. So I'm super pumped to have it all separated so she can see it better. Like it's hard for kids to enjoy toys, and if they can't see them, if they can't find what they're looking for. So just looking at this again just reinforces how much better it is now that it's in like the separate baskets so we can categorize things. And you can see I'm getting rid of, I didn't actually do a toy declutter in this video, but if you are interested in toy decluttering, I have a ton of videos on that. I'll try to find some that I think are relevant, and I will link them below in case you want to go back and watch them. We also, if you're new around here, we did a no toy month last year. So we did 30 days with 0 toys in our house other than stuffies and crafting and art supplies. And it was wonderful. It was lovely. They did not miss toys at all. They didn't even realize, I have to go back, but I think they didn't even realize till day 14 or something. They never once asked for toys until day 14. Leo said, "Where's our toys?" or something like that out of nowhere. So they did not suffer at all. I feel like they still these are the toys that we did keep, and they do use them. However, I'll say for Annie Rose's toys, like as much she loves her Barbies and her little pretend food when we bring it out, I will say that she plays with non-toys just as much. So she'll play with the most random things like every other kid, a shoebox or whatever. So she doesn't necessarily need these Barbies, but we'll keep them for now and see what the future holds. Now we are just giving this space a good little vacuum, getting rid of all the little bits that came out from when we were assembling and all the packaging, all that kind of stuff. And we did a little wipe down of our like side tables, and you'll see in the background I hadn't taken the Christmas tree into the garage yet, so I ended up doing that, and it just felt like it completed the space, having it nice and clean and fresh, so it felt like a brand new space for all of us, and it felt so good. And like I said, this is maybe almost 2 weeks ago, 10 days, 2 weeks ago, and it still has been working so well for us. If you see to the right, see that little oak like little shelf? We don't have that anymore. That was, if you follow me Instagram, that's the one that we ended up selling. Anyway, off topic. So this is how it looks. We have Leo's over here to the right, all the sportsy type of stuff, and obviously Annie Rose plays with some of this as well. And then the lid that doesn't actually have a hinge anymore to the left. We have our Barbie camper. I knew that wouldn't be able to fit obviously into the shelves, and I was fine with that. When I knew Santa was bringing it, I was mentally prepared to have a Barbie camper in our living room. So I've come to terms with that. But As you can see, that's our miscellaneous toys. We have the category for the actual dolls. We have the accessories category, and we have the furniture category. So all of the big stuff in there as well. So she's been loving this, using it, and we're all super happy. And I was so happy that we ended up doing this. Okay, so I am finished. That feels so good. I was going to go ahead and make labels for this unit behind me for this toys, basically just for the sake of the video, but you know what, I'm just not ready to commit. I don't know what I want them to look like. I'm not sure if I want labels yet. So I'll show you kind of examples of what I would normally do for a unit like that, just to give you ideas. But for now, for me, for this space, I'm leaving it sort of blank, and then I'm gonna work with it, and like as we kind of have it for a few weeks, then I'll decide if I wanna add labels and like what style and everything. But I do have to add a couple labels to the storage unit downstairs, just do a couple of the bins, like to update them. So I thought this was the perfect time to show you kind of labels. I have 2 label makers, so I'll show you both of those and like what style and what I often use with clients' homes. So all of the labels in the storage unit right now, we did like on a whim, I think, with Scott's electrician, and he's a label maker for doing like panels and stuff like that. So that's a label maker we used for that. For years, we had just, I had cut out pieces of paper. I wrote the label, whatever it was, like kid stuff. And then I just taped it on with box tape, I think, onto each of the totes, and it worked perfectly. And honestly, I would, if it was me, if I didn't organize for a living and I didn't have to have label makers for work, I probably wouldn't own one, to be honest. I love it because I have them anyway, but I really don't pull them out for home projects that often. And if I did have a label maker, I feel like I would try to share it with someone. So like with a family member or with a friend, because they are handy to have the odd time. So I know other people that would like to have one sometimes, but I feel like it's not something that you necessarily need to own and have one of all the time. Basically what I'm saying is you don't have to have a label maker. You can easily make any like DIY labels, at home labels, like super cute stuff. However, I do get this question a ton about label makers and labels. Since I'm making a label for this anyway, I thought it was the perfect time to show you what I have. The first one I own, which is like the first one I bought, is this super basic label maker. I got it from Staples, I think, which is like the office supply store here in Canada. I'm sure you can get it on Amazon too, but I just bought it through Staples. I think it was around $70, maybe even less. And then I bought this case. Again, I only bought the case because we're taking this back and forth to jobs constantly. So this is something I got way later, and you probably don't need unless you're like really into label making. This one is the Brother P-Touch H110 is this particular one. And I've had this for a few years now, so that's probably like an updated version of it, but that's the one we have. The one suggestion I will give you, to get one that has a power cord. This is one big suggestion and tip I remember reading at the time, and I'm glad I did it. So it has a power cord, because otherwise I think it takes like at least four batteries, and it's very annoying to have to constantly put batteries in. So we don't use batteries at all. We just have it plugged in when we're using it. And the other thing I will say for both of my label makers is the label tape, like the cartridges you get for the labels. Yes, I have bought the off-brand like version of them just off Amazon, and yes, it does work. So like the odd time I'll get like a faulty one, I feel like, but it's still 10 times cheaper. Well, I don't know if it's actually 10 times cheaper, but it's quite a bit cheaper to buy than the brand name label tape. So again, you do you, but that's just like a few little tips for this guy. So this one it's 12 millimeter labels. So the only difference with this is that they're thinner. So it's really good if you're doing a lot of file labels for files, or just like more basic labels, and you don't want it to like look fancy. You don't really care how it looks. You just want it to function. The other label maker I have is a little bit bigger. It would definitely more expensive. It's the P-Touch Cube. It's also by Brother. So this is what it looks like. And this is actually the P-Touch Cube Plus. I think there is a P-Touch Cube, like a more basic version. I honestly can't even remember what the difference is. But the big thing between this one and the like smaller one is that these labels are thicker. So these are twice the width. So really they're good if you are doing like a lot of labeling, or if it's like high up, like, or storage unit where you want to be able to see everything a lot easier. And it also does like little images, like it does like a little picture of a doll if you want to label things dolls. So I don't use that function a lot personally, but I do think it's kind of neat. It is handy. Like up in our bathroom, I think we have like first aid and I have a little picture of a Band-Aid or something. I mean, they're pretty basic images, but it can be handy if you're dealing with like kids who can't read, basically. And with this one, you use the app on your phone to make the labels. So again, it's like a little bit fancier. There's more options. You can justify differently, all that kind of thing. You can kind of see there a few options. You can do like a little border, and there's obviously a million different fonts. And this one, oh yeah, I remember I did labels for like some of the board games and their card games and stuff like that. There's that first aid one too. So it definitely like has some extra features. So if you really into labeling, it's definitely very cute. So with this unit specifically, I have done a few different things. We've labeled like right on the shelf itself. So using either sides of the label maker, and we just put it right on the shelf, or you can put them right on these baskets. Like obviously they're not gonna stay there forever, but they last pretty well. We've done it before and it is pretty handy. And if you own a label maker, then you can just make new ones if they fall off. Another option is having some sort of tag. You can make a cardboard tag with cardboard. Again, you can do anything you want, but these are little tags. I have a stack of them. They're little wooden tags that I got. These ones I usually get from Michael's. So these ones, again, like they look like sort of like a gift tag shape sort of thing. I would put the label on this and then hang it around the handle of that basket. If the house is more kind of country, then we'll use like a thicker kind of a rope thing. But some just even like a nice cute little string. If you could use a colored string if you have it, you could use ribbon, whatever is your style and whatever would suit your house. Another one I get, which I will leave a link to below, is these are the circle ones. They're even bigger and they kind of have both. They're like a little bit nicer. Like they look like a grain of wood sort of thing. Those are from Amazon and they are a little bit more expensive and they are bigger. So I've used them on these before. I've also used them on baskets, especially if they're going to be on the top of a closet. So you want them a bit bigger so you can really see what you're grabbing and what you're looking for. I'm going to show you one other common label that we use for storage units. Hold on. This is a really good alternative if you don't have a label maker, but you want like a thick, wide label for, again, a garage, or I guess honestly, this would work probably anywhere. It depends on the bins you have, but they do work like really well on the outside of like a tote, because the tote has obviously like a large flat area. So this is just chalkboard tape. This is 3M is the brand. I usually, again, get it at Staples, our office store, but you can get it on Amazon as well. You just get a silver Sharpie. You could use chalk, I guess, if you want to change the label. I've never tried that because I feel like it would probably smudge is what my gut says. But I just use a silver Sharpie so that it stays on, it shows up. So it's like a piece of black tape. So you just write on it, cut off how big you want it, and then put it on your bin. And so that's handy without having a label maker. That is it. That's everything for today's video. I am done that project. Like I said, it feels so amazing. I'm sure we'll do little tweaks like as we live in it, which is super normal. And I love our new little toy storage, especially after Christmas. It feels so good to already have like a system set up for all of these new toys and kind of like the new phases that our kids are getting into and sort of enjoying. So thank you so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.